So we are not leaving anything. Is there anything that you thought and you have forgotten about it and you want to bring it back to the hotel or no?
No.
What?
Hey, Annie.
Okay.
There was a plate up there. Was that yours too?
All here, right?
To the driver. It was like some kind of. Yes.
We're all here.
I think so, yeah.
We got 37 or
Back
whatever.
here.
How many do we have?
36.
36, 2, 4, 6. We had 38 yesterday. 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 11, 12. I will. 13, 14, 15, 17, 19.
Every time it counts, it's a different number.
Is Carol coming or not coming?
No, she's not coming.
So we are good.
2, 4, 6, 8. Why are you filming me now?
To see if you can count.
4, 6, 8,
It's a test.
10, 12, 13, 14, 17,
Hi, good morning.
Trip is about more than seniors. Trip is about.
I know, spend the car seats.
Oh, no way.
So I hope this is
Yes,
for the bus
a
stop.
trip is about, yeah,
A trip is about building.
Every day you get a little further.
that's right. You took the words out of my mouth and Spanish.
Were you up
All right.
further?
Good morning, everybody.
Morning.
All right. Very shortly we will be leaving the bus and we will be walking inside the walled city of Jerusalem from Herod's Gate, one of the gates of the city of Jerusalem, and we will be driving next to Damascus Gate. And where we are driving right now, I don't know if you have tried to go outside, because this is the way that leads you to the city or to the old part of the city of Jerusalem, and the nearest gate is the city of Damascus
Yeah.
that we are heading next to it very shortly, but we have to make another way to come on our front of the gate, as the way over here is only one way from here, and it goes always straight at the head of us where the traffic circle passing next to where the garden tomb and also where the Schmidt school and where the Kul Biblik is as well. So somewhere over here on your left, where that roundabout to the left is where about 2 blocks you will be in front of the old city of Jerusalem. But we have to go by the main road and to come from the other side, passing on the next to that gate where the Damascus is. Damascus Gate is. Of Jerusalem, we will be walking and visiting many of the places inside the whole city of Jerusalem for this morning. And the first thing we are starting with is the Via Dolorosa, the Station of the Cross, out from the Church of the Flagellation and the Condemnation. We will be walking together, the two groups, and Father, he will lead us in the prayer, correct? In the Via Dolorosa, and also there will be 2 crosses for the 2 groups, as we will be switching between the people to give a chance for as much as we can out of the people to carry the cross on the way, walking through the Station of the Cross from one station to the other, till the last 5 stations of the cross, which they are all inside the walled city of inside the Church of the Holy Sepulchre. And also at station number 9, we have to leave the cross, as it's not really allowed to carry the cross when we are inside the city or the Church of the Holy Sepulchre. When we are there, we will go for the visit of the main thing, especially Golgotha, especially Mount Calvary, and the other thing inside the Church of the Holy Sepulchre is the tomb of Jesus. Usually in the morning it's not going to be very busy, so this is why really we prefer to have a visit of that place the earlier the possible, because by then it really gives us a very good understanding and even easier to walk plus also not very long line, hopefully, when we are at the tomb of Jesus at the Church of the Holy Sepulchre. Then later of the visit of the Church of the Holy Sepulchre, we'll have a look at many other things. Inside the whole city of Jerusalem, we'll have our lunch later on as well, and also ending our day tour today later on with Johnny at the Church of Saint Anne and the Pool of Bethesda, the place being mentioned, and we are reading about it in Book of John in chapter 5 in relation of where Jesus he healed the one who was waiting for 38 years to somebody to push him into that pool, and he never had that chance, and that is where we will have a look at that place. That is one of the authentic places. This is again the whole city of Jerusalem on the other side. It's really very important while we are in the city of Jerusalem, as there will be a lot of hustle over here and there from so many of these shopkeepers who are always trying to tell you about a discount here, and it can be reached even up to 100%, or even offer some camels for your wife. And if you are planning to sell your wife, don't take the first offer, guys. Because the more of the day, the more camels you will have. Look on the other side over here, that is the Damascus Gate.
What are you looking at me?
That is the Damascus Gate. Look at the lower part of the gate, there is another older gate from the time of Hadrian, the Roman Caesar of the city of Jerusalem at that moment. And somewhere where that traffic over here to the left, where the bagels, the Jerusalem bread is called, or the bagels of Jerusalem, if you keep walking straight, it will bring you into where that roundabout we have passed next to it. So this is how the distance it can be from the hotel to the Damascus Gate. Later on of the day, when we are visiting the places and after the visit of the Church of the Holy Sepulchre, there will be a good opportunity for one of the good places and also a safe place to use your credit card at. Will give you a chance over that place for a very, not really a very long time, for 24 half an hour the maximum. We'll be together with the other group, and we can have that kind of the chance for a good selection of olive wood, plus also the jewels, the Jerusalem crosses, and they have their own design, and the man who is selling many of these things in that place. So we'll have the chance later on. This is, as you can see, a part of the wall on your right. Notice the quarry, notice the stones, notice the rock, that it used to be a continuation of that to where we are right now, like a higher part, but being quarried through the historical records. And this is how the city of Jerusalem stone, it can be really in a very best quality for construction. So this is where we are right now, early for this morning. Some of the schools are in session, some of the schools are not, or they will be later on up to 8 o'clock. And be ready, because very soon we will leave the bus, and if you would like to grab a water from the bus, and yes, we are saying goodbye to Akil. Tomorrow we will have 38 camels for you. What the no, you can take any photos wherever you want, and everywhere in the old city of Jerusalem, in all the shrines, with no problem. And if there is, we will let you know most of the time, as I did the other day at the King David tomb.
If they listen.
Alright, this is where we are now. Yes,
studied the way of scourging. There were different ways of scourging in the ancient times. You can tie the pillar, you can hands up and tie the legs, and so on. On the right, you would see, the window on the right, you would see Barabbas, that criminal, that the people, inside the church. How much you have bought last time? Inside the window on the... Yeah, come take over. You will see Barabbas, the criminal that the people decided to release instead of Jesus. You know, that is to fulfill the prophecy about Jesus, that he would be counted with the criminals. And on the left, Barabbas washing his hands, and he's saying that he's innocent from the blood of this man. Are you the king of the Jews? Jesus said, you say so. Therefore, they prepare for him the crown of thorns. All right, we're going to take rope right, so try to go like circling, take your time. I want you to enjoy, but if you're going together, it's two small chapels. So you go in the line, take the pictures, and come out. We're waiting for you.
The other one for the other.
I'm just smiling and I'm saying, wow, what a spoiled Catholic group I am. If this was 1,600 years ago, you guys would be doing a 24 hours Via Dolorosa. You have started on Mount Zion, celebrating the Passover, going on your knees down to Gethsemane. This is how they did it. On their knees down to Gethsemane, up to the high priest's house, to here to the king's palace afterward, and up to Calvary Golgotha skull. So it is completely different than it used to be at one day. Some of the original steps are in Rome now, and what we got here is a chapel. We have on the floor some of the games later on today at the Sisters of Zion. We're going to see more games and book about them, water channels, and parts of the stones that belong to the old, the hospitals that used to be here. We did ask for a couple of crosses to carry. As I said on my bus, this is the holiest thing that the Catholic group will be doing going up to Calvary. So we'll be having 2 crosses so that every one of you will get a chance to carry the cross coming up to Calvary. You know, the guy who will provide the crosses, I said on my bus, I don't know if he has mentioned that. There is no business for us at all. It is just to let you do the most holiest thing. You take pictures, you don't have to buy. If you take a DVD, you don't have to buy at all. We have no business at all. The only thing that I'd love you to do is to respect the cross and be behind the cross. And if you carry it, step a little bit to the back, so those who didn't carry it to be in the front. And we will be changing so that every one of you will get a chance to carry the cross going up to Calvary. All right? After we start the stations, I'm going to turn everything to Father. Not me or Riyadh are in charge of anything except of pointing the stations to Father, and he will be leading us in the prayers this morning. Until we get to the Holy Sepulchre Church, me and Riyadh will take our decision whether to finish the stations first or visit the tomb and then finish the stations. That is coming just for you. If we are told better, you know, we have our connections there. And they know sometimes what's going on. We don't want you to be in big lines, right? So Father said, fine, so we might finish the tomb first and then the station. But for this, we'll let you know. Let me check if we have the second cross here, and then we can start.
Thank you. these words, Pilate led Jesus out and seated himself on the chair of judgment at a place called David, in Hebrew, Gabbatha. It was the Passover, preparation day, about the 6th hour. "Here is your king," said Pilate to the Jews. Take him away, they cried. "Crucify him." "You want me to crucify your king?" said Pilate. The chief priests answered, "We have no king but Caesar." Let us pray. Father in heaven, our sin and that of all mankind has severed our relationship with you and burdened our hearts. Not out of justice, but out of mercy, you gave up your only begotten Son to restore us to life. May we be eternally grateful for this, your greatest gift of love. We ask this through Jesus Christ, our Lord. Amen. Our Father,
who art in heaven, hallowed be thy name. Thy kingdom come, thy will be done, on earth as it is in heaven. Give us this day our daily bread, and forgive us our trespasses, as we forgive those who trespass against us. And lead us not into temptation, but deliver us from evil.
Soldiers led Jesus away inside the palace, that is the Praetorium, and assembled the whole cohort. They clothed him in purple, and weaving a crown of thorns, placed it on him. They began to salute him with, "Hail, King of the Jews," and kept striking his head, the reed, spitting on him. They knelt before him in homage, and when they had mocked him, they stripped him of his purple cloak, dressed him in his own clothes, and led him out to crucify him. Let us pray. Good Father, we accompany your Son in his passion, who took upon himself the sin of us all and burdened himself with our cross. Before this great sign of love, may we have confidence to bear our sinfulness, present ourselves to you, to beg your mercy, in the same Jesus Christ, our Lord. Our Father, who art in heaven, hallowed be thy name. Thy kingdom come, thy will be done, on earth as it is in heaven. Give us this day our daily bread, and forgive us our trespasses, as we forgive those who trespass against us. And lead us not into temptation, but deliver us from evil.
أنا ممثل براية أنا ممثل معاي
אתה מסתיר, הם מטומטם.
Glorious cross. We adore you, O Christ, and we praise you. They led Jesus out to crucify him. They enlisted a passerby, Simon of Cyrene, who was coming in from the country to carry his cross. Let us pray. Lord Jesus, give us the grace to be steadfast in carrying the cross, and in your kindness you have given us, so that our love for the souls that are far from you will drive us to walk by your side on the way to Calvary. You live and reign forever and ever.
Amen.
Our Father,
Who art in heaven, hallowed be thy name. Thy kingdom come, thy will be done, on earth as it is in heaven. Give us this day our daily bread, and forgive us our trespasses, as we forgive those who trespass against us. And lead us not into temptation, but deliver us from evil. Amen.
Christ, and we praise you. Come, you who are blessed by my Father, inherit the kingdom prepared for you from the foundation of the world. For I was hungry, and you gave me food. I was thirsty, and you gave me drink. A stranger, and you welcomed me. Naked, and you clothed me. In prison, and you visited me. Let us pray. Moved by the example of Veronica, who honored Christ and offered him the sincere homage of her love and gratitude, we ask you, Almighty God, for the strength, be men and women of the kingdom, who will not shrink from the prospect of suffering and the cross. We ask this through Christ our Lord.
Amen.
Our Father,
who art in heaven, hallowed be thy name. Thy kingdom come, thy will be done, on earth as it is in heaven. Give us this day our daily bread, and forgive us our trespasses, as we forgive those who trespass against us. And lead us not into temptation, but deliver us from evil.
Blessed are they who mourn, for they will be comforted. Blessed are the meek, for they will inherit the land. Blessed are they who are persecuted for the sake of righteousness, for theirs is the kingdom of heaven. Let us pray. Lord Jesus, we know that you deserve everything from us, and that anything we offer you will always feel to us so small. Look with favor on our efforts to give you our lives, to give you our lives selflessly and without limit, to be the guarantee of our final victory. You who live and reign forever and ever.
Amen.
Our Father,
who art in heaven, hallowed be thy name. Thy kingdom come, thy will be done, on earth as it is in heaven. Give us this day our daily bread, and forgive us our trespasses, as we forgive those who trespass against us. And lead us not into temptation, but deliver us from evil.
the 8th station, Jesus consoles the holy women. We adore you, O Christ, and we praise you. Anyone who welcomes you welcomes me. And those who welcome me welcome the one who sent me. If anyone gives so much as a cup of cold water to one of these little ones because he is a disciple, amen, I say to you, he will most certainly not lose his reward. Let us pray. Loving Father, enlighten our minds and hearts to understand all that Christ wants to be for us. Enable us to enjoy the pardon and peace he won for us by generously giving himself up out of love for us. We ask this through Christ our Lord. Our Father,
who art in heaven, hallowed be thy name. Thy kingdom come, thy will be done, on earth as it is in heaven. Give us this day our daily bread, and forgive us our trespasses, as we forgive those who trespass against us. And lead us not into temptation, but deliver us from evil.
with the sign.
Please move as much as you can against the wall. There is a car coming. Please. Can you move there? Move a little bit this side. Is that thing? Okay, very good. Good. Hold on. Let's do this with the camera.
They know there's no driving on this road?
Jesus calls the third time. We adore you, O Christ, and we praise you. Watch and pray that you may not undergo the test. The spirit is willing, but the flesh is weak. Withdrawing a second time, Jesus prayed again. My Father, it is not possible that this cup pass away without my drinking it. Thy will be done. Let us pray. Father most holy, give us the grace not to fix our gaze on how hard it is to carry the cross, but to see the cross as an opportunity to love you more. Do not allow us to succumb to discouragement when we fall, but increase our trust in you. Through Christ our Lord.
Amen.
Our Father,
Who art in heaven, hallowed be thy name. Thy kingdom come, thy will be done, on earth as it is in heaven. Give us this day our daily bread, and forgive us our trespasses, as we forgive those who trespass against us. And lead us not into temptation, but deliver us from evil.
It's behind.
Have the veneration of this place. Most of the time they are not allowing you to take a pictures. That is for the tomb of Jesus that being restored like a year ago. We'll talk more details about the whole thing right after we finish the last 5 stations of the cross inside the Church of the Holy Sepulchre. Whenever you finish, we'll meeting you at the other side of the tomb, and from there we'll start making up to Golgotha, the place of the crucifixion of Jesus. Always stay in line and keep going as the light goes. Most of the time.
Have you no fear of God? For you are subject to the same condemnation. And indeed we have been condemned justly, for the sentence we receive corresponds to our crimes. This man has done nothing criminal. Then he said, Jesus, remember me when you come into your kingdom. He replied to him, truly I say to you, today you will be with me in paradise. Jesus cried out in a loud voice, Father, into your hands I commend my spirit. When he had said this, he breathed his last. Let us pray. Holy Father, we are moved by the sight of your crucified Son, cursed by his enemies, denied by his own, and suffering in silence for love of us. We ask you for the courage to carry our cross with the optimism of a Christian who knows by faith the importance of his life in relation to eternity. Enable us to be good Samaritans, helping others to carry their crosses as well. We ask this through Christ our Lord.
We're going down.
For this happened so that the scripture passage might be fulfilled, not a bone of it will be broken. And again another passage says, they will look on him whom they have pierced. After this, Joseph of Arimathea, secretly a disciple of Jesus, for fear of the Jews, asked Pilate if he could remove the body of Jesus, and Pilate permitted it. So he came and took his body. Let us pray. Lord, may our sufferings not drive us away from you, but instead make us better understand your Son, Jesus Christ, suffered during his passion, and draw us closer to him. We ask this through Christ our Lord. Amen. Jesus is laid in the tomb between visitors. We adore you, O Christ, and we praise you. After Joseph of Arimathea had taken the body of Jesus down, he wrapped it in a linen cloth and laid him in a rock-hewn tomb in which no one had yet been buried. Then he rolled a stone against the entrance of the tomb. Mary Magdalene and Mary, the mother of Jesus, saw where he was laid. Let us pray. Father, help us to meditate on the mystery of the cross and delve into its depths, since therein lies our trust and our greatness. grant that by dying and being buried with Christ, our poor, weak, mortal life will be transfigured with and raised with him, who lives and reigns with you forever and ever. Let us pray. Lord, let your blessing descend abundantly on this family of yours, which has commemorated the death of your Son in the hope of his holy resurrection. Let your pardon come upon us. Grant us your consolation, increase our faith, and secure for us eternal redemption. We ask this through Christ our Lord. Amen. In the name of the Father, and of the Son, and of the Holy Spirit. Amen.
The anointing stone here is the piece of stone where they anointed the body of Jesus. Group number 2, that's my group. Don't worry about the stone at this minute. Just follow me. Group number 1.
Stay here.
Stay here, please.
Stay here, number 1. Number 2, go with Johnny there. We're the last 5 stations of the cross. As we already visited the tomb, and maybe you have
questions if you need to use. In case if you would like to buy anything, prices are marked in US dollars. Your guide insists on us to give you 50% discount. Whatever is marked, you pay half. All major credit cards, traveler check, cash, IOU is accepted. We have the main thing to buy from Jerusalem is the Jerusalem cross. It's in my hand. We do carry it in olive wood, brass, silver, gold, and we have big variety with diamonds. Israel is the only country in the world that allowed to sell antiques. We have old coins with set it in gold. Every piece comes with a certificate, tells you how old it is and where it was found. And then we have olive wood carvings, all kinds of rosaries, icons, silver sculptures, nice flying carpet. When you buy it, we'll show you how it flies. You don't want to carry anything, we do shipping. We always say if you buy or you don't buy, we love you, but the more you buy, we love you more. And remember one thing, please, that the whole store, including the crew and your guide, is for sale. Buy one, get one free. And we have also for everybody Jerusalem bagel. Try it.
Again, the Church of the Holy Sepulchre, where we are right now on the front. And just to give you an idea in location, or in relation, I mean, of this place, how it was during the time of Jesus. Those who are going tomorrow to the model, it can be there very clear. In relation of where the wall is, where station number 7 and 8, within that area, in where there is a shop, or shops I mean around, and a covered market, it used to be the limit of the wall. So from there, Jesus was taken to outside the walled city of Jerusalem to here. And the way how this place, it used to look like as a garden, the place how it used to look like as a place of a lot of social or different or quarries that it was going on, and I will show you one of them when we are going to the inside of the Church of the Holy Sepulchre. And it used to be like a higher, that Golgotha, and this is how it was the point. Most of the time, whenever you have the place of the crucifixion, it is for you to crucify the people and to show the resident of the city where that man being crucified because of what he have done, and as a penalty for you and also for the others, not even to think to do any of these things. So this is where the Golgotha was, and maybe you have noticed by going up on the Golgotha, it was a high steps that it brings us into a higher elevation. Later on, when we are going again into the inside of the church, we will be on the lower slope of that mountain, in where there is a quarry, and how they use to cut that kinds of the stones for the construction. That is where we will be able to look at some of these things, and also some of the other tombs, even inside of the Church of the Holy Sepulchre. All right, let's go and please again.
Do we have everybody?
There's a bird's nest or something way up
yeah.
there.
I saw them. I've seen them all over.
That split of that rock is there. As we know about the crucifixion of Jesus, when it's happened, there was an earthquake happened, and this is what it really caused that kind of a split in where you are looking at, in where Jesus dies on the cross. And then later on, they have to take the body of Jesus from the cross, giving it to his mother, and then later on for the veneration of the body, anointing of the body at the stone, we already visited and we have looked at by the main entrance of the church. So this is what we are even referring to as the chapel of Adam, the lower part of where the Golgotha is. Have a look and let's go from the other door to the right.
Oh, there's a rail.
It's that direction where we came from. And the lower part of this mountain is where we are right now. Listen to this. It's very similar to the thing that I have pointed out to you this morning when we were driving next to the Damascus Gate. You have seen a part of the original rock where there used to be a quarry during the time of the Roman or even the time of the Greek. It's also the same place of where you are right now, where they used to cut the stones. It's a very obvious in where you are looking at. Also, what I have shown you yesterday, when we were on our way to Bethlehem, on the side of the road there was huge cubes of stones. Limestone. So this is how they have to bring these pieces from the quarry. And you are in a quarry. Look over there. It's everywhere as a quarry. But this mountain, the lower part of it is a hard rock. But the more you have visited where Golgotha and where we came from the chapel of Adam, it's a little bit chalky stones. Because within the same kind of the stones, in some places you can have it hard, some other time, and some other places it will be soft stones. And the softer kind of stones, it's not really very good in and for cutting and also for the construction. Therefore, it will be left. So that is what the Bible in Psalms it says about the stones that being rejected by the builders, and where Jesus crucified on, it's our place of salvation. It's a place of the crucifixion that is really comes and being fulfilled of where Jesus was crucified on. So this is the lower part of this Golgotha mountain of where we are right now, as you can see, which is really a kind of a very hard rock. And after that place where the Church of the Holy Sepulchre, where this place of the crucifixion, that was outside the whole city of Jerusalem, later on during the time of Hadrian, in order to prevent the people from coming to these places, he came and he leveled down almost everything into the ground, especially where that natural cave is. Therefore, what you have seen is not the same level where the tomb of Jesus was. It's supposed to be a lower from the present level that you have visited of at least 15 feet. So this is where the tomb of Jesus is underneath, where it's supposed to be there within a natural cave. And a part of the original, down there it can be seen, but it's not really allowed for anybody even to go into that place. But therefore they have left. That is ridiculous that we have to go and climb and visit that part, that is where the tomb of Jesus is. This place, by Hadrian, it being the major changing happened during that period, and the other major changing that it's happened, it took place of later on during the time of the Byzantine period, especially during the time of Helen. Hadrian, actually, the Roman Caesar, on the year 132 AD, in order to prevent the Christian from going into these places, he leveled down almost everything into the ground, and within the same location, he built a temple for Aphrodite. The thing that he did, it might be good and bad at the same time. Good because, to be honest with you, he marked the spot. But it was bad because it is that place had been changed since then. Later, after the time of Hadrian, of almost 200 years, Constantine, his mother Helena, she came and she started searching for where it could be the original place. And in where we are right now, that he passed into like a dump, into a trash, into a place of dumping outside the whole city of Jerusalem at that moment. And then later on, she found the cross in where you are right now. So this is why we call it the Chapel of St. Helen, or the Chapel of the Finding of the Cross. And how the cross being taken to Golgotha, on where we already visited that place. Still it had been taken during the time of the Crusaders to Rome. So that is where you are right now in this church. And the lowest part of the church is where that quarry and the chapel of over here. 14, I think, of September, right? We are celebrating the Feast of the Cross because of where you are right now visiting the place of the finding of the cross by Helen about the year 300 and 1980.
St. Helen was Constantine's
mother. Yes. Questions?
I have to know because my mother's name was Helen.
You should be called Constantine.
That's right.
So, I'll make you the emperor from now on. Any questions? Okay, have a look. Up there to the right there is another chapel that is for the Armenian. When we are going upstairs again, we are going not by the same way, but completely the other way around. Of where the tomb used to be. In relation of where we are standing, and somewhere over here behind, or even from that place which is almost close, that it goes underneath the present building where the ruins of the Aphrodite temple, the Byzantine church, and it goes to furthermore to the lower part of where the tomb of Jesus. That is not even allowed, and nobody can go into there. I had only once the chance to go underneath, and it was really something blowing in the mind actually. So this is where we are right now, and this is the level. You can see how the level, when I spoke about almost the 15, 16 feet, and this is the thing that I've meant. We are right now within where the level is supposed to be underneath it, in the back part of the everything underneath. This is our chapel for the Armenian. This is a new pavement only like a couple months ago. They have a place that is with a very beautiful mosaic, and there and above is the small arch down above the two workstations number 30. So the entrance to the church, way back in the time of the Byzantine, it was never from here, but it was from where we have to make station number 9. Remember where we did station number 9? We have to make like an all along a detour, but none of these things are here. And where station number 7 and 8, that is the limit of the wall. From there, walking straight to here. So we are right there at the side of the southern part of the garden, the Franciscan chapel of where we are heading, and we are walking next to it is the part of the northern part of that garden, and somewhere in the back part of that garden is where the tomb and some other tombs held in that rock, and that was one of them for Joseph of Arimathea, and the other one is the Golgotha, the next door. The distance is between Golgotha and the tomb, it can be up to less than 50 feet. Let's go upstairs to the right. Okay, let's remind you of something that has happened when Jesus dies on the cross. The soldiers, he came and what did he do? Pierce the side of Jesus. It's believed that man, who was one of the Roman legion, he had like a difficulty in seeing. His sight, it can be whenever it's getting dark, he is losing it. He would be like a blind. That's like a very common disease.
Night blindness.
What?
Night blindness.
Night blindness, yes. Legion, one of the legion, Legionis over here, as you see, that is the chapel for him. When he did that, he was not really sure because it was already getting dark, and he pierced the side of Jesus, and out of that blood and the water came into his eyes, and he was healed. What's that? What did you say? You heard that, yeah? So this is where it happened, and this is where it can be the first Gentile ever healed by Jesus, even when Jesus dies on the cross. So that is the chapel is dedicated to him. And it is Saint, what's the name of that saint actually? You remember the name, Father? Legionus? What's his name? Saint, that he is considered also by the church as a saint. The one who was Legionus?
I don't know. The soldier who I don't remember.
No, what's that?
Simeon?
No.
No.
Yeah. Longinus, yes. Longinus.
What is it?
I said it already, Longinus.
Longinus?
Saint Longinus, yes.
Okay, I've heard the name before, but I.
Now you can put the two together. Name it, best of names.
Yeah, he's in the back, I can see them.
Sorry.
They kill us. The back part of the tomb is over here. That is the Coptic church. And Rolling Stone, they supposed to have it outside of this place. Very similar of the thing that I have shown you the other day at the side of the main road. So we are right now in relation of the present tomb like the back. So it was like a burial places. Don't forget that a part of this area, it was a quarry. And the people they used to carve on that rock to make these burial chambers. No, this is another guide. So this is where they are rolling a stone to make the entrance of this place, and further to the more of the inside, they are having a different burial chambers. So this is the very best example of how the tomb of Jesus used to look like. But don't forget the level down of the whole thing into the ground, and the building of different things through the historical records, ending up by building of what we call it the ridiculous that we already visited, and very similar to how the natural cave is supposed to look like. All right? If you'd like to step inside a little bit, and we will go out. And the chapel of where we are right now, it can be only allowed for the Syrian Orthodox Church to say their services in here on Sundays. They are not really allowed to have any of their rights in the church unless it is on Sunday. That is for the Syrian Orthodox Chapel. All right, have a look and let's come this way out, please.
Can I get like one person in there at a time?
Still waiting a couple.
My husband. There he is.
Okay, we're all here.
Can you please stand still, don't move. Don't try not to move, either here or there.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Where we are right now standing, on the front of the wall. That is the thing that I've talked about the other day when I explained about the platform. And where we were looking at that place from the east, where also this morning we have looked at the Dome of the Rock from a different angle. And somewhere there, if you look where these trees are behind, you will see that Dome of the Rock, Golden Dome. So we are right now by the other end, by the other side of that platform. Those who are going to the optional tour tomorrow, you will see a model of how things used to look like during the time of peace, especially where the where the temple was. And that is one of that is the remnants of the temple, of where you are looking at this place. The only thing remains after the destruction of the temple on the year 70 AD, when Titus, he finished the Jewish revolution at that moment, and he destroyed the whole temple at that moment, and the only thing remains is the lower part of these retaining walls. Also yesterday we were driving. Can you see where that border is?
Yeah.
We were driving the other way of that mountain or that platform the other day, where I have pointed out to you and where we were on the bus. And I've referred to it as the pinnacle of the temple. So the other side of that platform is that place. From that corner, to where we started this morning, the Station of the Cross, that is the other side of that platform of the temple. That is the other side of that temple or western wall, the only part where they can come and do their prayer of where you are looking at, as they consider it as an open-air synagogue, which you will have very shortly the chance to go on to see. Men, they have to go to the men's side, which is that way. And for the men, you have to cover your head, and for the ladies, you have to go underneath that and yes, you will find a lot of these prayer requests being put in between these layers. When you are coming back, there is a bathroom there. That is where the meeting point over here by 12 o'clock. By 12 o'clock. Wait, before you go.
Half hour.
12 o'clock. Whenever you are coming, I will be gone by then, because I'm going for now. And Johnny is going to be with you for this afternoon. We're going to walk with you from here to not far away into a pizza restaurant. And we need to know how many people. It's a very good pizza over here, and we need to know how many people they would like to have the pizza. It's a personal pizza, and it's really very nice pizza for the lunch of the day. So how many people they would like to have the pizza? We need to have your hands up.
现在呢，我们拿着会开，
3, 4,
拿着呢
5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15.
专门是换的这个手套，拿个手套戴下来，直接这边吃。姐妹们，你跟着我走。
The pizza is different.
我们现在100个时间。
Mushroom. You have either mushroom or olives or pepperoni. You know, it's different. So you have about different kind of thing, and you will have the choice there. But he have to prepare, because we are like the two groups are eating at the same place. And you have to have the thing a little bit in ready, and whenever you are there, he don't really take a very long time. So we are about, let's say 30. Let's say 30. There is other choices for the gluten-free, don't worry. But the pizza is the thing that needs to be prepared in advance. By the time you are coming back, then going to have the pizza, then later on, Johnny is going to take you to the Sisters of Zion. That is the other place, that is the beginning of the Station of the Cross that we did not really do this morning. And later on of the day, you are ending up at the Church of Santa Ana, where you will love that church very much. You know why? Because you are good in singing. Not all the Catholic group, by the way, are good in singing. I have to be honest with you. And I think everything, it depends on the Father. If the Father is good in singing, the people in the church, they will be. I have that kind of an experience from many of the Catholic groups that I have been with. Most of the time, if Father, as you are really good in singing, I really enjoyed the Mass yesterday at the church or in my church. And you will enjoy that even more, because the acoustic in the Church of Santa Ana is marvelous, it's beautiful, and you will have a very beautiful Mass at home. And then, so this is what is going to happen. So the plan is just to go for you for the visit of the wall bathroom, 12 o'clock to meet over here. And by the time you are coming back, I will be gone. So,
Thank you.
all the best.
Thank you.
I'm not here. I'm not here for tomorrow. I'll be in Galilee.
So who does?
We've been there, done that.
Thank you very much.
I
Great
come to get
job.
hugs, by the way.
Who's doing tomorrow?
Thank you.
Well, I'll be with John.
Thank you.
Well, tomorrow's either the
Hugs
it's the optional tour.
with
I know
or
that.
without.
Yeah, it'll all be with Johnny.
Thank you.
You got him right there.
Yeah.
Father, I got the yarmulkes right down there, so
What's that?
grab one this time. See the bucket right there?
Oh, yeah.
You were looking for another one from Israel.
Yeah, you can do that. You can get a yarmulke. They'll give out, and you can keep it. And you'll have your head covering. You'll keep that, but if you pick one up and take this off and put that one on, I'm sure everybody will understand.
Thank you.
This is legal.
It's legal.
Johnny, are you doing it tomorrow?
Johnny is doing the half-day optional. Yes. Yes. God bless. Yes. Thank you. Thank you.
But if you
Thank
pick
brother.
up a yarmulke
Take
on the
care.
way in.
Thank you.
Good.
Take care. Thank you. Nice to have you. Thank you. Thank you. What? Enough. Lily. Bye. Take care. Yes. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you, Mark. Bye bye. You take care. Very nice to have you.
Good. Thank you very
nice
much.
to have you. Bye bye.
Good. Bye bye. Take care.
Thank you.
You too. Good. I'm gonna...
It's true that I'm born to suffer. One of the ladies in group number 1, I'm just looking at her this morning, I'm not going to say her name anyway, and I said, hey, what's going on this morning? I see there is a makeup on your forehead. She said, Johnny, I have to make up my mind today. Do you want to know who is that? All right, can you all hear me?
Yes.
Excellent. We're inside the Sisters of Zion Convent over here. And what I want you to understand, 100 years ago, the city of Jerusalem, the old city of Jerusalem, is the city of Jerusalem. Nothing outside the walls. 150 years ago, there wasn't this much outside. The city itself is inside the walls. And the Christians were selling to the Muslims, and the Christians were buying from the Muslims the same as with the Jews. Everybody loved each other, and everybody really bought from others whatever they wanted, not like nowadays. Why I'm telling you this, from where we had lunch until we finished the day today, almost all of these buildings, on the left and halfway on the right, they belong to Christians, and they are in the heart of the Muslim quarter of the old city of Jerusalem. You got it? So we are really in the Muslim quarter of the old city of Jerusalem, where there's a lot of Christian buildings, and Christians managed to buy them from the Muslims and build whatever they wanted to do. Starting with the Pool of Bethesda, coming to the Ecce Homo, where we've been this morning, the flagellation and condemnation, this is the Ecce Homo, and the Germans having the German hospice, which was a hospital in the city of Jerusalem, and nowadays it's a hotel and a church over there. So what happened is, and by the way, the Jews have a policy in the city of Jerusalem to do what? To buy everything within the next, not 1 year, not 2 years, 300, 400 years. Are you listening? They're not planning for today, tomorrow, and after tomorrow. And in America, there's a guy called Moscovich, and this guy is really interested in helping and supporting all these settlers. They'll give you a call at night. I live in the old city, by the way, of Jerusalem. They will give you a call at night and say, your house costs $50,000. What about $1 million, $1.5 million?
Whoa.
And not only this, they will tell you, you don't have to give it to us now. We can take it after you die. You just enjoy it all your life, enjoy the $1.5 million. And if you want to go to the States, we can send you and do it. Whatever you tell us is good for you, we're going to do it. And they're very faithful. And this is how the Jews are buying the old city from both Christians and Muslims. And unfortunately, if you've heard recently about Mr. Greek Orthodox Patriarch, who have sold a lot of buildings, and the Greek Orthodox were so crazy about it. So the Jews are really spending a lot of money. Anyway, this is what I wanted you to know. But what happened 150 years ago, 130 years ago, a father called Alphonse Marie Ratisbonne, he himself decided to buy a land in the city, which nowadays is called the Old City of Jerusalem, and built a church and what? A hotel. For you now, you're pilgrims, you're coming to Jerusalem, you have a 4-star hotel, blah, blah, blah. At that time, they didn't have this much for the early pilgrims, so he wanted to do something. So, as he decided to do such a thing, he managed to maintain the land from the Muslims here, and as he was digging, all of a sudden, he comes across a stone pavement with games and other stuff, and a big ancient pool called the Lithosodos. And he started thinking about it, and he decided to keep it, and then built over it. Now, the question to you is, when people in the ancient times come to destroy a city, do they destroy walls or floors?
Walls.
All right, great. So you destroy walls. When Hadrian came, Jerusalem is destroyed in 70 AD. And Hadrian comes in 133, 134, and he himself is restoring the city, and he's recycling. What that means, recycling? Taking everything that was fell down, or whatever, stones that he can reuse for building, and using it. So he's cleaning up everything over here. When he finds the floor down here, do you think he's going to change it?
No.
If this theory is true, then the stones that we're going to see down here are going back to Jesus' time, and that Jesus walked on them at least for 3 times, from here to the king's palace, back to here, and up to Calvary, Golgotha's skull. On verse number 2, they know that I will not say anything that I don't believe in. I was on Mount of Beatitudes, and I said this is not the mountain. I was in the Last Supper room, and I said this is not the room. But here I'm telling you, my studies and everything said that these are from Jesus' time, and Jesus walked on them at that time. Up to you to believe that or not. Pools. Pool in Jerusalem. I am going up to the house of the Lord. Here's my foot standing within you, Jerusalem. Psalm 121, 122, the Psalms of Ascent. Jerusalem is higher than the surrounding area. So what do you need the pools for? To collect sky juice water, which is? Rain. Exactly. And according to Josephus Flavius in Jerusalem, we had 4 pools. The upper pool, the lower pool, which is considered as the pool of Siloam, and then you have the pool of Bethesda and the pool of Israel. That is not excavated, but I'm mentioning it, which will be the 5th pool, but it's not excavated. Josephus mentioned it, we didn't find it yet it is considered as a pool according to Josephus. And the last one is the Stradian pool that we have over here. So these people had to collect water in the ancient times because it was difficult to bring water to Jerusalem. Don't think that nobody tried to bring water to Jerusalem. King Solomon did such a thing, and he brought the water from the area of Bethlehem, from what is well known nowadays as Solomon Pools, all the way up to Jerusalem to provide the holy city with water. So we got a pool down here, and then what we find on the floor down there. On the floor down, we find a game Do you read English?
Yeah.
What does it say on it?
The game of the kings.
You've been to a basilica, right?
Yes.
I'm not sure about bus number 1, but I'm talking to my people now. You've been to the Basilica of Multiplication, right?
Yes.
And I said, why we said that it's called as a basilica? Basilicas
3
were
doors. 3 doors.
not only 3 doors, that is the shape, but the word basilica means king's courts, right? It was a place of torture and persecution in the ancient times. Now on top of Calvary, all of you would remember what I said. All of you, because I talked to 2 groups there, and I said Jesus the Nazarite, Basilios Chodios, right? King of the Jews. And here we see what? A basilinda game. A basilinda game. What is a basilinda game? It's the king's game. They used to play during the feast of the god Saturn, and they're going to choose a prisoner to be the king of the feast. At the end of the feast, that prisoner would be killed. So you don't want to be there, right? Nobody want to be there.
Don't choose me.
But this is not the most important thing here now. Why I'm telling you this, to remember when they stripped Jesus of his garments and they draw a lot on it, right? Why is that? Why did they did such a thing? To fulfill the prophecy about him, that they will draw a lot on it, on his clothing, because there will be no seam in them. Questions? I wish I had a camera.
You want to
know
use
why?
mine? Oh.
Just to show you how you look like. Seems like you're tired. All right. Thank you. All right. All right. It's a bit difficult for you, those of you standing on this side, and some of you, but what I want to, those are going on the optional tour tomorrow, you would see what I'm talking about much clearer. What? You've been to Jerusalem and you didn't visit the garden too? Guys, you're going to go back home, right? And you're going to visit and have a lot of friends, and a lot of them are Protestants, Baptists or not Baptists. I don't care, I don't know what, but the most important thing, you might hear about, no way, there's no other tomb for Jesus except the garden tomb, which has nothing to do with Jesus, right? On my bus this morning, I pointed out Calvary of the Protestants, and I said simply because they didn't have a place inside the Holy Sepulchre Church, they had to find another tomb. Very easy, very simple. All right, now, what I want you to know, first of all, the location of the Holy Sepulchre Church was outside the city walls at the time of Jesus. Now look over here. You see this red dot of my laser, but also on the map there's a red point.
Yes.
And the wall here, this is the wall of the city from Jesus' time. Okay? And Jesus had to come outside a gate, which was called as the gate of judgment. All criminals would be going out of that gate to be crucified on top of Calvary of the Holy Sepulchre Church. So the Holy Sepulchre Church was right outside the city walls at the time of Jesus. Is it clear?
Mm-hmm.
Point out where the Holy Sepulchre Church was, where Calvary.
Exactly where this red point is.
Oh, okay, that's what you said. I'm sorry, I didn't understand.
This is Calvary, exactly. All right? So you know it by now. Any questions? Thank you, guys. I'll pay you later on.
Checks in the mail.
Checks in the mail. Do I have to go?
Oh, no, no, no.
This morning, remember how much I paid you, right? Right.
We love you, Francisco.
Don't say thank you. Don't know what she loves. The Bible says love your enemy. You see this very big fortress over here?
Yes.
Of 4 towers? You guys are sitting inside here now. This is the fortress of Antonia. This is what Herod built. And this morning, I mentioned it for both of the groups, that Herod built it and stick it to the temple area. You see the temple area here? Yeah. All right, that's great. So the temple area was a very big area of 22 football field size, about 500,000 people that was inside that temple area. From the fortress of Antonia all the way down, that is what? The Wailing Wall. And how big is the Wailing Wall?
1,600 feet.
433 meters.
Totally wrong piece of information. No matter who told you that one, you read that. That's wrong, sir. All right, you read it, but if you read it, if I say wrong, that means I'm 1,000,000% sure of what I'm talking about. All right? Okay. I want you to know one thing. I'm the most humble person. If I'm not sure about something, I'll say I'll check it. I just had a question now at the church, right? And then I didn't answer it, and the guy just said, it's called the church, the Armenian church, the Lady of Sorrow, right? Mm-hmm. And I didn't know that. I lived in the old city. I live above the 8th station up here. All my life, by the way. I used to play hide and seek in the tomb of Jesus. If I don't know anything, I will not say. But it is 4, not 33. Maybe the number 3 stick to your mind, but it's 488. 488 meters of a retaining wall, starting with the pinnacle of the temple on the other side, up to the place that you visited, that is 88 meters. Let's talk American now, about 275 feet, more or less American. And then the wall that you visited is 240 feet, and what is considered as the Western Wall tunnel excavations is about in feet is 960 feet. So the Western Wall, which is a retaining wall of 1,500 feet, and I said according to the interpretation on the Book of Lamentations, that wall was not destroyed because of its holiness being the closest point to what, here it is actually, wrong piece of information on the map, simply because right on that wall we did find a gate. According to Josephus, that gate was facing the Holy of Holies, and it was called as the Geniza at one time, and it is about 159 feet from the wall into the Holy of Holies. In other words, just for your knowledge, the Holy of Holies, according to Josephus, is exactly where the gold dome is. I had this question, and I promised to answer it, and simply because tomorrow I don't have a full house, in other words, I have about 14 people not coming on the optional tour, I'm telling you the 3 different theories about where the temple stood one day. If you remember the black mosque in the temple area, forget about it. That is a very, very weak theory. The second theory that I just mentioned now, it is where the Dome of the Rock is, and that is simply because of Josephus Flavius tells us that we find this gate, which was used as a Geniza, facing it, and all of that stuff. So it should be, if the Jews want to build their temple again, it should be exactly where the Dome of the Rock is, where that gold dome. And you know, with that lovely smile of Protestant, like this guy over here, a good Protestant guy would come and tell you, don't you read the Bible good? What is it, Francisco? And he's telling me, oh, can't you read Ezekiel 43:8? And what does it say in Ezekiel 43:8? It says like this: they, Muslims, will put their threshold next to my threshold, their doorpost next to my doorpost, and there will be a wall between me and them. In other words, Muslims will build their mosque, and we as the Jews, we step a little bit next to it, put a wall and build next to them, and there will be no problem. And this is how some of the Jews and Protestants who are in a hurry to build the third temple are trying to finish the problem between the Jews and the Muslims. All what I'm talking about should happen right behind these walls where the gold dome is. I think it's enough for you. You've rested enough.
Do we get to see the gold dome up closer than this?
I've seen it from Mount of Olives, no?
Yes.
That is the closest that you saw.
Oh.
Listen, I don't know what Iyad told you, but I told my people and asked my people if they want to go up or not. And look, if your cross is not allowed, your iPad is not allowed, and I've seen a lot of people with iPads, rosaries are not allowed, Bibles are not allowed, and all of that stuff. In other words, are we welcome up there or not?
No.
We're not. Exactly. And the lines sometimes take 3-4 hours to get up there. And once you get up there, they'll start kicking you out. And for what to go up there? Just to view the rock, the dome, which we did from Mount of Olives. So this is why the agreement was not to go up. Every one of you took his rosary, you blessed it at the Holy Sepulchre Church, or whatever. You had your iPads, you had your Bibles, and everything. Any questions? No questions. That's very good. I'm so happy. Now, ladies' restrooms are over here. Men's are up to the right, because they're always right. Nobody told you that the man is the head of the house and the wife is the neck? Yes or no? Yes. No? You see, those of you who said no didn't get it at all.
There must be a Palestinian Christian, because an American Christian would never say that. Because they would never get to go to bed that night.
You know what? I want to tell you one thing. The only thing that you're missing, and the women here on this trip are missing, how great I have just made them now, but because they didn't understand my words, they were thinking that it's bad for them. Guys, the man is the head, the woman is the neck.
The neck.
The head. It's a big compliment for you. That you didn't get it. So it has nothing to do with the Palestinian Christian. Anyway. Yeah, restrooms here, restrooms out there for the man. Under the steps will be the place where you can go down to the cistern to take pictures. When you go, this is not the whole size of the cistern. What happened, as they were digging from the western wall and coming up to here, they found the Stradian pool. Now, trust me, I will not believe the Jewish point here, which they said that the father was afraid, the father Alphonse Marie-Ratisbonne, that people would come at night and abuse the nuns, and this is why he built the wall. No, I don't buy that one. I've heard it from the Jews before, but what I will tell you is that he built the wall because he knew that the Jews one day would be coming to Jerusalem and they will look for their history. And this is what happened in 1995. This is when the Jews managed to finish the digging over the, as long with the western wall, and they came down to the other part of the pool. So this is why he built the wall, to protect the church and their property. So you can use restrooms up and down for the men and the ladies. Under the steps, you can go down to the cistern if you want to visit it. It might be a little bit slippery, but also then when you can, there's a little museum, like 2 windows or 3 windows of artifacts that they found here. All of this, that's fine with me. You know, we have 10-15 minutes to use all of this, and then we're going to come up and meet by the steps. I'll be down just now and talk about different things and tell you where to walk, where Jesus walked, before we go to the Church of Saint Anne. Sounds good?
Yes. What is the pool called again?
The what?
What is the name of the pool here?
The Stradian pool. The pool here is the Stradian pool. Ladies, if you want to leave something behind us over here, men up there, yes.
Can we stay right here?
No, and yes. No, and yes. Listen up. On my bus, and as I was walking down, I was trying to see if I can answer that question or not, and I didn't see what I wanted to see. I can't remember who asked the question, but it could be Deacon also, about the eye of the needle. That was you? Yes? All right, I was trying to look at the gates of the temple area now, and I didn't see the eye of the needle. The eye of the needle is the small gate in the big one. So when you look at the gates of the temple area, both that I've seen now, they're open, but if they're closed, then you can see there's a small gate in the big one. This is what the Bible refers to as the eye of the needle. And remember what it says, it's easier for a camel to go through the eye of the needle than a rich man to go into heaven. Now, why a camel is used here? For the simple reason, the camel is the ship of the desert. It's carrying all the goods. Take all these goods down, he might make it through that eye, through that gate. In other words, if a rich man is willing to give everything to God, he might make it to heaven. All right? So if you want to give everything to God, you can start giving it to me now.
We'll donate it.
Right? That's the only thing. Is that okay with you? Two ladies? Are you from bus 1 or 2? If you notice, all the trouble is coming from bus number 1.
I know.
All right. All right, come. Yeah, of course.
He started carrying them by now.
From the sheep gate. Look at my hands. By the gate, there was a very big pool of 5 porticos, and that was called the Pool of Bethesda. First one to jump into the water, when the angel come to disturb the water, will be healed. And there was a paralytic man lying in his bed for how many years?
38.
Good for you. 38 years. Can you imagine the selfishness of the people at that time? Nobody to take him down to the water when the angel come to disturb the water. And Jesus is asking the man, what you're doing here? And he told him that nobody to take him down to the water. And then he asked him whether he would like to be healed. I'm almost sure that that man looked at you, excuse me, please. It's not what you're talking about. Of course I want to be healed.
I've been here 30
And now look at my hands, what Jesus said, stand up, carry your bed and go. So the man went to the temple area and he was carrying his bed on the Sabbath. So the people said, are you crazy? How come that you carry your bed on the Sabbath? He said, I don't know, the one who healed me is the one to tell me to do so. And later on, he pointed at Jesus and he said, this is the one. Some theologians would look at no matter what Jesus do for us, we still betray him. Or this man was very happy to show the one who gave him life again. All right, when they asked Jesus about this, all of us know the teachings of Jesus about the Sabbath. Who is made for what? Is the Sabbath made for the man or the man for the Sabbath? If your donkey gonna fall in a hole in the Sabbath, are you gonna take it out or not? They were not able to answer him. Same pools that they were miraculous pools, they turned to be, they were at one time ritual baths. You remember what is a ritual bath? It's cleansing spirit for the Jews. They stopped using it for that, and then they start using them for cleansing place for the sacrifices in the temple. Leviticus in the Old Testament, from the first chapter, it talks about the sacrifices. If it's an animal sacrifice, it should be perfect. For example, if Jody don't want to cleanse his sacrifice here, he might take it to the temple and he might wait an hour. But if you sacrifice if you cleanse your sacrifice here and pay the extra half a shekel or whatever, then the rabbi would see the red ribbon with the seal, take it, slaughter it, and everything is fine. So this turned to be as a cleansing place for the sacrifices at that time. Now, what is the story behind Blessed Mother being born here? We don't have this in the Bible, or few books of history talks about it. The father Joachim and Anne came to Jerusalem on a pilgrimage. The father Joachim went down to the Dead Sea area to pray to the Lord to bless him with a child. So as he went down there to ask for it, the angel appeared to him and he told him his wife will be pregnant. How come? She was an old woman, right? So how come? If this is what's going to happen, then I'm going to dedicate that child to the Lord. Comes back to Jerusalem. Anne got pregnant, so they decided
To dedicate her to
There's
the
a
Lord.
group want to pass by. Just
Move
open
in
the way,
closer.
please. All right. So they wanted to dedicate that child to the temple. So as they came back to Jerusalem, he decided to move to Jerusalem. All right. Until now, is it clear? So Joachim want to live in Jerusalem. Behind the walls here, there was the animal market of the city of Jerusalem till about 20 years ago, if not even less. What they say about Joachim, that he was an animal trader. Think about it. Don't you want to live next to your business?
Yes.
Exactly. So he comes and moved to Jerusalem. He decided to have a house here close to his business. And if every woman gave birth at home 2,000 years ago, that means Blessed Mother was born over here. She served in the temple until she became 13, 14 years old. And then after that, so until she became 12, 13, that is spirit issue of blood is unclean, and they moved back to Galilee. She cannot serve in the temple, they moved back to Galilee. Well, we got over here. Over the pool, there were different churches from the Crusader Byzantine, and even they believed that there was an Asclepian temple. Asclepian god is the god of healing. And being the healing pools, they built a temple for that god. The symbol of that god is the caduceus that you see in the furnaces. The church itself is the only complete Crusader church. Why Muslims didn't destroy it? They have a very high respect to Mary. Number two, the church is very good in acoustics. So they decided to turn this church into a Muslim school for studying the Quran. Later on, when the Turks wanted help in the Crimean War and the French government helped them, they started donating these places, a lot of these Christian places, to the French government, and the French government assigned the White Fathers who were founded in Africa by a cardinal called Lavigérie, that you see his statue in the garden. Now, I'm going to go first. I'm going to negotiate about Mass and see if we can celebrate now or not. Sounds good?
Yes. We'll pray for you.
We'll pray for you.
Hello, Father. My blessings. How are you? Sia is gonna lead you in one more song for all of you. This now again. Bus number two, you're welcome to go down and visit the exact place where Blessed Mother was born. Bus number one, let's get together in front of Saint Anne. Father is coming here. He was gonna tell you the story. He'd like to do that to my groups. I can do it, but it's nicer when he do it. So bus number two, you visit down, you come up, Father will explain to you as far as bus number one going down to visit. So bus number one to the right, bus number two down there, please.